Welcome to St. Augustine, Florida. Historic, beautiful St. Augustine, Florida. A town that's near and dear to me. This is where my father's ashes are scattered. This is where my mother lives, and this is where I met my wife. She went to the university right across the street, Flagler College. This is where I lived, this is where part of my heart is, and this is where the famous Night of Lights is every year from November until the second week of January. Over 3 million lights light up all the historic buildings in the town. It's like a tour bus convention.
When you ought to be ashamed. Now what's right is right, but you ain't been right yet. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all the way.
Hugely important building behind me, the Alcazar building. This was one of Henry Flagler's many contributions to St. Augustine. This was the hotel in the late 19th century. At one point had the largest indoor swimming pool in the world, a saltwater pool. This statue in front of it is more important. This is Don Pedro Menéndez de Aviles, very important gentleman, a Spanish conquistador, given the title of founder of St. Augustine. They landed in 1565, not too far from here. They espied the coast for quite a while, landed on the 8th of September 1565, and essentially St. Augustine was born. Standing in front of the Henry Flagler statue and the college named after him, Henry Flagler, Flagler College. Now originally this was one of his hotels, his famous one, Ponce de Leon Hotel. In the late 19th century, Henry Flagler and his friends, the oil barons and the Rockefellers of the world, they essentially built Florida, modern Florida as we know it. So there's a statue of Mr. Henry Flagler outside of Flagler College. Near and dear to my heart, this school. My sister went here and my wife went here. She graduated from here and she was a tennis coach at this liberal arts, fantastic, beautiful college here in St. Augustine, Florida. If you get a chance to come visit, make sure you take a tour of Flagler College. Go see the stained glass, the Tiffany stained glass in the cafeteria, the dining room. Welcome to the centre of St. Augustine, the famous plaza. the heart of the old colonial town would have been 11 blocks to the south, 11 blocks to the north, 22 block town essentially. The city plan was drawn up 4 centuries ago in the late 16th century, and it's still here today. It's changed, but it's still here today. To my right would be the governor's house, and just across there is the cathedral, which much later on, that version of the cathedral, but still to this day, church and state, the centre of St. Augustine. So enjoy the plaza and all its wonderful history and all of the lights. Welcome to the oldest street in the entire country. The United States' oldest street dates back over 400 years, and it was on the city plan that was drafted up by the Spanish in the late 16th century. Hello. And it still exists to this day. Avilés is named after Don Pedro Menéndez de Avilés. We've mentioned him before, the gentleman with the statue outside of the Alcazar building, named after the conquistador. And again, the oldest city in the oldest street in the entire country, the oldest street in the oldest city in the entire country. So take a walk with me down Avilés.
This place right here. New York. Anywhere. Ba 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 da now, ba 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 da now.
Hey guys. Peaceful night, huh? Ah. Oh, all right. Now I'm walking down the waterfront, the famous historic waterfront, right here on the bayfront in St. Augustine, with the oldest standing structure in the city of St. Augustine. Just about make that out behind me. That is the Castillo de San Marcos. Dates back to 1672 and it's still standing. It took them over 20 years to build the fort, the Spanish, when this was a Spanish colony. Constant raids from pirates and the Brits. They had to clear the French off before they could set up shop here. Direct orders from the King of Spain to clear out the French settlement. The French were already here, most people don't realize that. But they started work on the Castillo de San Marcos, right behind me, 1672, and it really is the focal feature of this entire town. I'm standing in front of the Castillo de San Marcos, built by the Spanish in the late 17th century. It took almost a quarter of a century to build, starting in 1672. There were other forts in St. Augustine before this one, mostly wooden fortifications. None of them stood up to various pirate attacks and naval attacks from the British and the British pirates, mostly. The fort is the oldest masonry fortification in the United States. It's still standing. It's the only still standing building and entity, fortification, from the entire first Spanish period here in St. Augustine, Florida. Absolutely fantastic fortification, built out of coquina, quarry just across the bay, the Matanzas Bay, and again took almost a quarter of a century to build. The oldest masonry fortification in the United States, and arguably the most important. Built in the shape of a star, it was built to essentially protect the fortificate or the settlement here in St. Augustine, the Spanish colonial enterprises, and the shipping routes, the Atlantic shipping routes back across to Europe, where the Spanish would take all of their ill-gotten gains from South America, Bolivia, Peru, Chile, Brazil, things like that. So, incredible fortification. Make sure you add it to your list of things to do when you come to St. Augustine. I'm standing in the moat. It's actually it's federal property, so I should probably clear off. It's owned and operated by the National Park Service, I believe, the Federal Park Rangers. So, signing off from the Castillo de San Marcos.
¿Qué pacho?
Gonna keep this world from dragging me around. Don't stand my ground. Won't back down. I won't back down.
Hey, baby. There ain't no easy. Well, that wraps up the Night of Lights 2025-2026, my tour and the actual lights themselves. I'm standing here at the very end of my little walking tour at the entrance to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in St. Augustine, just on the waterfront. I hope you've enjoyed. I certainly have enjoyed walking around the incredible lights. I'm definitely sweating. It's quite humid tonight, but it feels fantastic. Hope you enjoyed. Again, please like and subscribe, and yeah, see you in the next video, wherever that may be from.